Hopefully, everybody's having a good night. In case if anyone's wondering about the Juventus beanie, I'm no longer fans of the Cardinals and the Suns, and after this fall, I will no longer be a fan of the Yankees. The only sports club that I may still support is Juventus because it's not simply just a club, but it is a way of living life. Fino alla fine, until the end. Never give up whatever it is you want to accomplish. It can never be over. Only when mentally you say it's over. So always strive and fight to conquer and achieve your dreams and aspirations. So fino alla fine, forza Juventus is just a way of life. So that's probably why they're the only sports team that I'm probably still going to root for. Everything else, like the Suns and Cardinals and D-backs and Yankees at the end of the season, that's just all. I'm no longer going to wear all of that attire because, these are just teams. They don't really have something that represents more than just a club, like a moto or something. So, you know, these soccer clubs, they have a strong connection to their community. And with that being said, the big match of the week is the Derby d'Italia between Juventus and Inter. Now, Milan won today, and it is another league where it appears that the title race is over. But matches have been rigged all across Europe in the past month or so in order for the leagues to still keep interest. That's basically what it is. Like, who's going to watch the Premier League if Arsenal are just going to win by 12 points, right? Like, matches have been rigged for the betting syndicate, and matches are rigged so people still watch the leagues. They don't want the leagues to be over with. That's why suddenly you see Bayern Munich throwing matches for the betting syndicate. The powers that be that run Bundesliga want you to still watch the Bundesliga, to have a situation where Borussia Dortmund win and then suddenly Bayern Munich play, they have a 3-point lead. So the Bundesliga are fixing their matches to keep fan suspense. So what are the matches that I've spoken about? Well, I mean, losing to Augsburg, and they lose to a team that's named after hamburgers. Hamburg, Hamburger. They lost to the Hamburger, 2-2. Lost to the Hamburger. They didn't appear to play like their usual selves against the Hamburger team. Two straight matches, they dropped points. They're just steamrolling through everybody, and now they drop two matches in a row. Like, it's not a coincidence. Like, they're trying to keep the league interesting, and it's the same thing with Arsenal. Like, the matches are rigged, so the Premier League title race keeps its suspense until the months of April and May. So what you see, 0-0 against Nottingham Forest, the 2-3 against Man United, where the defensive back, the player just passes it back straight to a Man United player. Like, you can tell those matches are rigged. You can tell they're throwing matches. Arsenal are throwing matches so the Premier League stays close and it stays suspenseful. Not many people realize this, but there are not 20 independent clubs in the Premier League. There are all 20 member shareholders of one entity, the English Premier League. The 20 shareholder teams, they're all friends off the field. On the field, they have to be enemies. But Arsenal and Man City and Man United and Chelsea and Tottenham, they're friends off the field. They all make more money if the Premier League stays interesting. There are 20 shareholder clubs, part of one entity, the Premier League, trying to keep it as close and dramatic as possible. Matches are gonna be fixed. And if you see the Bundesliga staying somewhat close before Dortmund play Leipzig and Bayern, you see the Premier League staying close because it's rigged to keep and try to maximize the fan interest. Don't think for a second that the powers that be that run the campeonato uh, get into a room and they can say, hey, look, suddenly Bundesliga is close and La Liga is close and Premier League is close. Which result is going to keep the title race interesting? If Inter lose, then the gap is 5 points. And wouldn't you want the Milan derby to have something meaningful to play for, where Milan could go for the Scudetto in the Milan derby? That's what would keep the Serie A close and interesting and dramatic. What if Inter drop any points? So this is perfect. So Inter and Milan both have played 24 matches. So even if the match ends in a draw and Milan beats Como, suddenly they're 3 points back on Inter. So the match is going to be rigged tomorrow, I think, because they're trying to maximize the fan interest. They're trying to keep it suspenseful. If Juventus wins or whatever, the football pyramid survives with Juventus in the position to secure the Champions League qualification. If Inter drop points, suddenly it's not a league where you're not going to watch any matches because Inter are rolling through a farmers league. You're going to be watching into the Serie A to see how Inter does, to see how Milan does for the last 14 rounds of the Campionato. That's why Inter have to drop points tomorrow. So the Serie A stays interesting. And so Serie A can get people to watch the Campionato. That is the main objective. Juventus will get the referee decision if the powers that be want Juventus to qualify for Champions League. They must not lose. B, we must keep the title race interesting. We need it to be within 3 points of Milan and Inter for the next Derby della Madonnina, the Milan Derby. So if Juventus win or draw, it's basically what's already happened in Bundesliga and Premier League. Matches thrown by Bayern and Arsenal because they all share TV money, revenue sharing. It's a concept that exists in the Premier League. They distribute it evenly, the TV rights money. Money gets passed around to the smaller clubs. They can have more buying power in the transfer market. When you don't spend as much as the La Liga and the Premier League, your Serie A, you're going to want more people to watch. It's just not a coincidence that suddenly Bundesliga is a league again and suddenly Premier League is a league again. They want to compete with La Liga. Real Madrid and Barcelona breathing down their necks to the wire. But it's all script. You see, I think everybody knows Bayern are winning Bundesliga. Now, the Premier League, the mugs are getting mugged off. Arsenal are still going to win the Premier League. They want there to be something to play for at the Etihad, April 18. The Arsenal going to win at the Etihad. All the Tottenhams and Chelseas and Man Uniteds, the bookies are just mugging them off. They're mugging them off. They're getting them to bet all the money on Manchester City. That feeds into the international betting syndicate. They want you to start betting on Manchester City. Arsenal are still winning the Premier League. It's all tribute to the Queen. Remember, the last 3 matches for Arsenal is against West Ham, Queen's second favorite team, Gunner Queen Elizabeth. Burnley, I think second to last, is the team of King Charles, the successor of Queen Elizabeth. Crystal Palace represents the palace, Buckingham Palace. The last three matches of Arsenal seasons are all scripted tributes to the late Gunner Queen Elizabeth. Manchester City are not winning the Premier League. The 20 individual shareholder teams of the Premier League, they've all decided that we're no longer going to be a farmers league where Man City are just going to win every single season. We're the Premier League. The oligarchs, the UAE, the UAE sheiks, the UAE oligarchs bought their Premier League dynasty. The 20 individual clubs created this monster team because, let's face it, if you're a casual glory hunter fan, you're just going to root for the team that scores the most goals, that dominates everybody. So they built a glory hunting bandwagon Man City fan base. Like dynasties make leagues a lot of money. The casuals, they tend to root for the dynasties. But now Premier League is saying, hey, we want to be known for parity again. Any team can win any season. That's what makes the Premier League the most interesting league in the world. And so we want back-to-back two different winners not named Manchester City. So the Premier League is scripted. Could Milan win Scudetto if Juventus wins this week? Who knows? But as long as Allegri is in charge, this is their best chance without European football. And Pulisic gets hurt every season. So for Milan, this is the opportunity right here. If you can win against Como without Rapio, and you can exploit and take advantage of Inter potentially dropping points against Juventus, then suddenly Inter have to play the Champions League playoff. They're playing in Coppa Italia. They may be in Champions League knockouts. Inter have to play lots of matches from now on here to the end of the season. If Juventus get the result here, suddenly Milan is suddenly back into the Scudetto race. Just like Man City suddenly back into the Premier League chase. Just like Borussia Dortmund is suddenly back into the Premier League chase. Let's face it. Arsenal 0, Nottingham Forest, that's a rigged match. They want this league to stay suspenseful. That's what it comes down to at the end of the day. The international betting syndicates, they benefit off of this. They benefit off of Bayern Munich dropping two matches. They went for the kill. They went for the kill on Arsenal dropping some points. Now, with people betting on Man City to win the Premier League, especially the haters, the London clubs and all that, they're going to get mugged off. It's going to make the bookies lots of money. Arsenal going to win the league. Now everybody's going to bet on City. They mugged off the Liverpool at the beginning of the season. Everybody was betting Liverpool, and now, Arsenal going to bottle it. That's the narrative. It's Arsenal going to bottle. They're going to bottle. So that's why the league has to stay close, because there's a narrative that they keep repeating that suddenly is going to flip itself. Because this is the year where they're competing for cups. In the EFL Cup final, number 1 in the Champions League table. Best defense in probably all of Europe. Like the 1-0 to the Arsenal in the George Graham days, And by the way, the best defender in the world didn't play against Brentford. He was out with an illness. He was out with a sudden illness. How convenient. They need a goal. Saliba's not going to play along with it. He's out with the sudden illness. Arsenal in all 4 fronts, the EFL Cup, Premier League, FA Cup, and the Champions League, one of their most important players gets to get some rest. Basically, he gets some rest. Now everyone's going to bet on Chelsea and Tottenham and even Everton, maybe. But that's how the bookies have designed this to be. They now want you to bet against Arsenal. Bet on Man City because it's at the Etihad. It's at the Etihad. Arsenal got a result there in the past 2 seasons. Both ended in draws. But this time it's going to be a victory. EFL Cup, I won't be surprised to see Man City win. I won't be surprised if the quadruple narrative stays alive. I think they'll stay humble, and Arsenal win everything domestically. I think is probably going to be the best one. Right? Man City are suing the Premier League. It's like the Premier League is going to war with Man City. I think they're gonna get one back at Man City here. The Man City are currently suing the Premier League. This big penalty decision will come out of nowhere. This 115 penalty decision could benefit who's going to miss Champions League. Aston Villa appears that they will qualify for the Champions League again. If you're Liverpool, you want Man City to have a 25-point penalty because you spent £400 billion in the transfer market. And you're losing lots of revenue if you miss the Champions League. Chelsea, they already spent over $1 billion on players. The house of cards is going to collapse, or whoever finishes sixth. That's why whoever finishes sixth, they're going to lobby very hard to deal the point deduction for Manchester City. They can't have the situation where Arsenal finish second, but they win the league because of point deduction. They'll never allow that to happen. They must have Arsenal win due by merit alone. Because this point deduction error is going to benefit whoever finishes in sixth place. Do Aston Villa appear that they're going to collapse? They just beat Brighton. It doesn't appear Aston Villa are going to collapse. It doesn't. They're in the Europa League, but it doesn't appear Aston Villa are going to collapse. They won. Man United dropped points. Liverpool dropped points. So one of the three between Chelsea, Manchester United, and Liverpool, one of them are going to want Man City to be docked 25 points. And Pep is going to leave at the end of the season. He wants to manage Spain someday. He'd love to manage Spain. He's been there for 10 years in England, right? Why not win Yamal the World Cup in 2030? Pep Guardiola against Zidane in a World Cup final in 2030. Picture that for a second. The rising winger, the teenage sensation Lamine Yamal, Pep Guardiola coaches Spain to the World Cup title in 2030. It's not Ancelotti that's going to win the World Cup after winning everything. It's Joseph Pep Guardiola that is going to win virtually everything. Either him or Zidane. Zidane has won Champions League as player and as manager. Pep Guardiola, this is the final that they want in 2030. Zidane and Guardiola have won everything. And whoever would win that World Cup final, they would win everything, including the biggest of all, the biggest of trophies. The World Cup is the biggest of all trophies to win in all of football. Pep Guardiola is a visionary. He doesn't have to travel, to fly out, gets a big break. He works part-time. If you're managing for Spain, and you get to manage a world class squad, and you do it for your country, you do it for your national pride, in your Barcelona pride. There's gonna be lots of Barcelona players that play for Spain. So Pep Guardiola is gonna get ready to manage Spain. I'd be surprised if he doesn't manage Spain. I already have Spain winning 2030. France is number two on my list with Zidane. Guardiola, the baptized kid, he's got to win the World Cup. Yamal got to win the World Cup title. I think the powers that be want the France and Spain in 2030 for sure, for sure. You don't have a real North London Derby. Oh, they're 6 points ahead. Oh, they're 4 points ahead. It's a North London Derby. You see how they keep things suspenseful. You see how they get new manager, and suddenly people are going to start to say, "Hey, Tottenham can spoil the Premier League title for Arsenal." But the game tomorrow, Juventus look much better in attack with Luciano Spalletti. Juventus are going to give Inter lots of problems. There is going to be a lot of work, the high work rate, vertical. Luciano Spalletti. He will go nuts if you're passing it back. This is not back pass FC. 32 shots against Lazio. They're playing actual football with Luciano Spalletti. This can be a very dramatic derby. Juventus are actually playing football for once. Luciano Spalletti has made them look far better than they did with Pirlo and Allegri and Tudor and Mota. Luciano Spalletti, say what you want about him as an international manager, but on the club level, he's been successful everywhere he goes. He won the Scudetto with Napoli. He returned Inter back to the Champions League after a 6-year absence from the Champions League. They look far, far better with Luciano Spalletti than they did under any manager since the team started to decline during the COVID era. Second most goals in the league, Juventus. Inter, the clear number one in goals. But what's interesting is that Juventus could go for their 34th points ever since Spalletti became manager. They played Galatasaray in the Champions League playoff round. Galatasaray's 34. I think Juventus can get something in this game. I think they absolutely can. There's no reason to believe that they can't win the game. There's numbers that go both ways. Inter play Lecce, they could stay at 19 wins. Juventus, they could stay at 46 points. Como 46. It's a two-way affair. Could it mean that they could draw and end in a stalemate? It could mean it could end in a stalemate. But the powers that be, I think they want this to suddenly be a title race. I think draws the expected result. It won't surprise me if Juventus win, but it appears the draw is the expected result. Inter have just been too dominant. They've been, just steamrolling through teams like it's Bayern in Bundesliga. Inter, we had a 5-0 win against Cremonese. They beat Sassuolo 5-0, but we had a 5-0 win too against Cremonese. So I think Juventus now with Spalletti have got the firepower that they can hang with anybody. 4-1 against Parma, 3-0 against Napoli. I'm telling you, this team is very, very different. Luciano Spalletti. We have as big of a chance to win the match as Inter do tomorrow. Inter are the favorite, but Juventus have shown that no matter what, They all find a way to get results all the time in the Derby d'Italia. 4-4. 4-4 at San Siro. 1-0 at Torino. They got results in both matches with Mota. They came and won 4-3 with Igor Tudor, who came. He became Tottenham manager today. He became Tottenham manager. There's a two-way code for the League Cup too, but Guardiola won the domestic treble. It's like, will Arteta go for the domestic treble? Like it's going to be one last trophy for Pep Guardiola. They're good narratives that go both ways. If Man City win EFL Cup, it's only the real pressures on the Arsenal not to bottle it. So there's great narratives for both for both teams in this EFL Cup. Yeah, he's a Man City fan. He predicted Man City to win the Champions League. So right there, I know he's a Manchester City fan because there's no way they'll win the Champions League with how they played this year. Their defense is very leaky. Their players are mentally fragile. They blow leads in the second half. Like, they don't blow leads in the second half. This is not your same Manchester City without Gundogan and without Kevin De Bruyne. This is not the same Manchester City. Bernardo Silva has declined. They're still a very good team, Manchester City, but they're nowhere near as dominant as past Manchester City teams were. They're not going to beat Bayern. They're not going to beat who would be the number 2 team in the Champions League. They're, no matter what, they're not beating FC Bayern Munich. It won't surprise me to see Manchester City win the EFL Cup. I mean, the whole stay humble thing. I have to do. Okay. Coupe de France and Rick. I know I talked about Lyon winning the Europa, but for me, it makes sense that if Lyon don't win the Europa, their form has been outstanding in the Ligue 1. But Lyon have the code to win the Coupe de France. Marseille just got rid of their manager. And Lyonnais have Fonseca left. And they've got Hendrick, and this guy is going to win the trophy. Let me show you. So you're wondering, why are you going to copy and paste the 2026 Coupe de France? Well, I looked at it. It's going to be Hendrick winning the trophy. There's no PSG in the competition. They lost to Paris FC. They lost to Paris FC in Coupe de France. Paris FC. Paris FC. They won the derby. I think it's Lyonnais that has gematria of 109. This is the 109th Coupe de France. This is the 109th Coupe de France. Lyonnais is 109. Olympique Lyonnais, 109th Coupe de France. Hendrick's going to win. Hendrick is going to win. Europa League. Lyon, are they going to win 2 trophies? It's a very hard thing to do. Maybe Aston Villa are going to win the Europa. For the Prince, this could come down to royalty. So the Queen is a late Arsenal fan. The royalty are mostly Arsenal fans. They used to be called the Royal Arsenal decades ago. But hey, if the Royals are Arsenal, the last 3 matches have scripted royalty tributes. West Ham is Queen's second favorite team. Burnley is King Charles' favorite team. They end the season against Crystal Palace. It's a tribute to the Palace, the Buckingham Palace, for those who weren't here earlier on this stream. But Aston Villa is the Prince's favorite team. I thought they'd win the FA Cup last year in tribute. That's the weirdest thing, too, is that I had Villa winning FA Cup last year, and they didn't win FA Cup. It was Crystal Palace instead. The Palace team won instead of the Prince's team. It's been a while since Aston Villa win a trophy. Is this the year that Aston Villa win a big trophy and they win the UEFA Europa League? I just can't see Leon winning both trophies. I think I have to go with Villa. I don't like to just be automatic. Oh, let's go with the English team. Because the English team don't win every year in the Europa, do they? Bayern Leverkusen, and they hadn't lost a match all season long. And then next thing you know, the goddess, La Dea of Atalanta, won the Europa League final. We've had some surprises in the Europa League. I just doubt Lyon are able to win two trophies. They lost against a very bad Manchester United team. One guy is not going to make the difference. They're doing well in France, so they can win Coupe de France. But I just think that if Queen's team wins Premier League, then Prince William's Aston Villa wins Europa. Alvarez wins Copa del Rey before Argentina win back-to-back. Julian Alvarez wins. Now, Emiliano Martinez can win a trophy. DePaul won MLS with Messi. We've got some Argentina players winning some trophies before the World Cup. Alvarez with Atletico Madrid up 4-0 in Copa del Rey. The one that makes sense is Emiliano Martinez. I think this makes more sense for the Aston Villa code. Emery's Gematria 30, Aston Villa's first trophy in 30 years. 30 years, Villa win their next trophy. I think their last trophy came in the League Cup. '95, '96, Aston Villa are going to win the Europa League. Aston Villa are going to win the Europa League. They got to win their next trophy in 30 years. Aston Villa are going to win. I leaned Lyonnais earlier, but they're not going to win Europa. They're going to win Coupe de France. There's no PSG. There's no PSG in the Coupe de France for anybody who wonders. There's no PSG in Coupe de France. That was scripted. Oh, yeah, that was scripted. Paris FC winning the Coupe de France. This is just crazy. This is wild. So there's no PSG in the way to stop Lyon and Endrick in the Coupe de France. Marseille are on bad form. Lens, they're a good team. They're in the Ligue 1 title race. But Lyon, I think, are the hottest team, I think, as far as form goes in the Ligue 1. PSG lost. Lens dropped points last week. PSG dropped points. This makes sense from the scripting standpoint. Ligue 1 is a tight title race. La Liga, a tight title race. Bundesliga, somewhat tight. Serie A, really going to let this happen? Are they really going to let Inter be the Scudetto winners? Every league is interesting except for Serie A. I mean, Juventus, they're probably going to get something. A Milan derby where Inter have already won the Scudetto. I mean, they got to have Juventus get the result tomorrow. The Milan derby, Milan got to somewhat get a win and be in the driver's seat for the Scudetto. So I got Juventus to win tomorrow. I don't think Bayern going to lose against Werder Bremen. They should be able to win. They just wanted Dortmund to win until maybe they lose against Leipzig coming up, or they lose the El Clasico. They're going to lose against Bayern Munich. Let's be honest. They just don't want to be seen as a giant joke if Bayern Munich are up by 15 points. So it's still the whole thing is. It won't. I saw the box score. It was like did did Mainz fold today? Did they fold so they keep this league interesting? Yeah, it was already 2-0 inside 10 minutes. It appeared Mainz threw the match, so the league, the entity, keeps it close. Okay, now for PSG, they were playing lots of matches. They were going for like 5 trophies last season, including FIFA Club World Cup finals. They played lots of matches. They're resting players. Maybe they're resting players. Maybe that's what allowed Ligue 1 to be this close. But Lens were terrible, and PSG, they lost. PSG are not going to win Champions League. There are going to be a couple teams that got to be ahead of PSG. Barcelona's defense is shaky. That's a weakness. Arsenal, they don't score. Their defense will be tested because in Champions League, they don't pay too much respect. They're not going to play them in the low block. Nobody's scared of nobody in the Champions League. They're not going to play the low block against Arsenal. They're going to go after these wing backs, these center backs. But I think Bayern Munich will definitely beat Arsenal if they played them again. Bayern Munich definitely will. Let me go to Tudor. Career win-loss record. Igor Tudor. Could we see Juventus against Tottenham and Igor Tudor, former Juventino manager? I think, for us, Yunus is from Germany. He's Turkish on his dad's side. It's obvious we're going to beat Galatasaray. We may draw against Tottenham again. We may draw against Tottenham. I mean, this is interesting because Tudor, he had 24 matches as Juventus manager. And then his first match with Tottenham is the North London Derby. I already have Arsenal winning the North London Derby. Let's see if Igor Tudor, if his gematria is going to tell us what the result is going to be. I don't think Tottenham are not going to get relegated. I mean, Nottingham Forest are going to get relegated. That owner's a clown. I mean, he went on the field and he was berating Espirito Santo. Espirito Santo's going to knock off the big fat Greek charlatan, Marquinhos or whatever he is. He literally went on the pitch and cussed out Espirito Santo because they failed to qualify for Champions League. Espirito Santo and West Ham are going to send these guys down. They're going to send these men down to the Champions League, to the championship. They're going to send them down to the Champions League, the championship. The karma is going to come for the Greek owner. It's been written. It's been written. West Ham are going to survive. I tell you. Tudor. North London Derby. Where are we at? Arsenal have 57 points for the season. Tudor in reverse has Camacho 57. Arsenal are at 57 points. You see these men out there. Arsenal are going to choke. They're going to bottle. It's all script. Tudor's 57. Arsenal have 57 points. Every match is scripted by the numbers through the Kabbalic code of Gematria. Every single season. Cards Gematria 33. It was 3-3 World Cup final. That's a perfect example. Messi's Gematria 20. 2014 was the 20th World Cup. That was Messi's first final. I don't make it through numbers. I got a award for these men. I got a award for these men. Retard. 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 You see referee decisions that don't make sense. Players kick the ball out for the corner. Why are you kicking it out for a corner? Why don't you just clear it to the sideline? This kind of thing. Igor's 59 also can get their 59th points against Igor Tudor. I'll sure put out the poll. You already know they're to beat Forest. I'll ask you if you think Arsenal or Tottenham would draw for the North London Derby. North London Derby. Tottenham fighting relegation. Arsenal trying to keep the Premier League title hopes alive. Igor is Gamachev 31. So Arsenal 57. Tottenham is 29. So I think it's going to be plus 31 points. And Hendricks Gamachev. Coupe de France. When is the final? They don't tell us when the final is for Coupe de France final. May the 23rd. When's Hendrick's birthday? Hendrick's birthday. For the day Hendrick joined Lyon. July 21. July 21. July 21. Well, I like that. Football's 83, 8 weeks, 3 days before Hendrick's birthday. He wins the Coupe de France. I wonder how much day from the time that he joined Lyon to the day of the Coupe de France final. Aston Villa, Europa, Bayern, Champions League, Arsenal, Premier League, Barcelona, La Liga. Who knows if Milan actually could pull it off? Who knows? 3 matches, 3 goals in the Ligue 1. 5 matches, 5 goals in all competition. Hendrick already averages a goal per game with Lyon. When did he join Lyon? December 23rd. That exactly 5 months. 6-month loan deal. Hendrick made his debut scoring the goal in a 2-1 win over Lille in the Coupe de France. A hat trick over Metz, 5-2. He's got a real script. Made his Ligue 1 Coupe de France debut on January 11. How much time until the final would he win? Hendrick's going to win something. His full name. What is his full name? What is his full name? I think the day that he joined Lyon would make more sense, honestly. But the 109th Coupe de France, Lyonnais is 109. They've already scripted Hendrick to win this competition. Harry Kane's going to win because of a myriad of different reasons I talked about before. Apparently, Leipzig should have had a penalty in the DFB Poco. The referee didn't give Leipzig the penalty. Probably because they're scripting it to where Bayern Munich are going to enter the final with 87 trophies, and Budapest 88, and Austria 89. I mean, Bayern 85 trophies as of now. They can go for the treble, win the the Bundesliga, the DFB Pokal, 88th trophy at Budapest. UEFA Super Cup is at Austria. That's how Bayern Munich are gonna see the end of their season. Okay, and I will ask everybody who's gonna win, who will win tomorrow. Big match of the week. Ligue 1 is close. Premier League is close. Ligue 1 is close. Bundesliga is close. La Liga is close. Serie A truly is a farmer's league. If Inter win by 2 goals tomorrow, it truly is a farm. They bet Milan won by a goal against Pisa. I know Pisa have had 12 draws. They've been getting results, but I mean, sitting back in a deep, low block against Pisa. I mean, mamma mia. Juventus actually play football with Luciano Spalletti. I can't wait. I cannot wait. When did he join Lyon? Father stated that Endrick was inspired by Cristiano Ronaldo. That makes sense why he played for Real Madrid. When did he join Lyon? Where is it? December 23rd. December the 23rd. I don't know why. I feel like I'm missing something. I'm missing something. Am I spelling that right? Olympique Lyonnais. Coupe de France should only take a minute to 2. This is all I need. Lyonnais is under 9. This is the under 9th Coupe de France. Endrick scripted Coupe de France. He's going to win a trophy with Lyon. Okay. Real Madrid. The player, I presume, will return to Real Madrid. He will start. Real Madrid lose La Liga. Is there really a place on the team for Endrick? I mean, Mbappe wants to play wide, but Endrick, as the striker, takes the goals away from Mbappe. I don't know how Endrick would. I don't know where Endrick is going to fit on this team, honestly. There's too many egos on there. I don't know. I think only Ancelotti would be able to make it work, honestly. The sacking of Alonso is very strange. I guess he wanted to present a guard of honor after the Supercopa España loss, and it pissed off Mbappe and Bellingham. So that's what happened there, I think, with that. Wisconsin Michigan basketball game. I had Wisconsin. I didn't think it'd be this much of a blowout. Anyway, thank you for tuning in to the live stream. In summation, the football mafia has won when teams like Arsenal and Bayern throw their games so their leagues stay suspenseful, and this benefits every single club that collects TV money. And I believe Serie A is going to be manipulated in the same manner, where there's still a title race. I'm not just saying this because I'm a Juventus fan because of the top four. Inter are the stronger team. I mean, really, even though Juventus have been better, Inter should really win. But I'm just seeing weird, fishy things in the Premier League and the Bundesliga. Like, these matches are just contrived so these leagues stay interesting. Why else would I watch Bayern if it's over by 12 points? It's a farmers league. Why else would I watch Serie A if it's over after this weekend? Why else would I watch the Premier League if Arsenal are going to win by 12 points? It was never meant to be. These leagues are scripted so they stay somewhat suspenseful with 3 months left into the season. They are being manipulated. Now that the climax has been reached in with Arsenal in the Premier League, where now their own fans are starting to worry right now, that's when they're going to start winning matches. Right when people start doubting them, time has come. They're going to start winning matches. People doubting Arsenal and betting on the Man City. I mean, these bookies are going to murder everybody. It reminds me of a couple seasons ago. Man City were in third place on Easter right after the draw. Liverpool's going to win. Liverpool's going to win, right? Ooh, Liverpool bottled it. It is Arsenal that's going to win. It's Arsenal that's going to win. What happened? They lost to Villa. 6 matches left. City could slip. They didn't lose any of their last 6 matches. Arsenal pressured them to the very last match. Arsenal won their final 6 matches, but Man City also won their last 6 matches. The pundits don't believe, the fans don't believe, but I know it's scripted for Arsenal to win after the Queen's death. 5 draws, 3 losses, 53 points. The scripting is right there by the play numbers. They're mocking the fans. They get the 60 points right after Wigan Athletic. Wigan Athletic is 60. 60th points against Wolves. 63rd points against Tottenham. 63rd points against Tottenham. His final match as Juventus manager was against Lazio. Igor Tudor. Lazio 63. 63rd points against Tottenham. They're going for their 66 points against Chelsea Football Club. So it very much is a script. This is what the JC guy doesn't understand. He's being a hooligan and he's going for his team and this and that, but it's scripted. Who knows what's going to happen with the point deduction? That's irrelevant. That's irrelevant. It seems like they've delayed the decision for so long, they may release the decision after Arsenal win the Premier League. But what cannot happen is Arsenal being awarded the Premier League by point deduction. They're not going to be like the Inter slide. They're not going to be like them. I think referee decisions are going to be against Manchester City during these last 12 matches of the season. They are going to give a point deduction. There are Liverpool and Chelsea have spent lots and lots of money. They're likely to finish in sixth. Hope everybody enjoy this live podcast, this live stream of the football action going on. And looking forward to the end of the game tomorrow. Hopefully Juventus get a result or what have you. Let's just put it this way. It'd be bad for the league if it's over after February. I think, you got to tune in. You got to watch the Serie A. Is Milan going to win? Are they going to chase Inter? Is Inter going to slip like they did last year? You see, that's why they need Juventus. They don't have to win, Juventus. They can get a draw, and it keeps the league suspenseful. There's a lot to play for both teams. The Scudetto, if you're Inter, unfortunately, Juventus, top four. Napoli still have a hard game against Roma. Roma have a hard game against Napoli. This time they're at the Diego Armando Maradona Stadium. It's a very important game for Juventus for the top four. That won't be a surprise. See two late goals for each side. I mean, look what happened at the San Siro. 4-2 Inter, and Juventus came back and equalized. Inter. They're terrible at Torino. They're terrible. I think it was 2024. They only beat us 1-0, but it was an own goal by Federico Gatti. When was their last win at home against Juventus without an own goal, 1-0? The only goal scored was by a Juventus player. Inter drop points all the time against the top. They can't beat Napoli. They can't beat Milan. They can't beat the top teams. They can't. I don't count Roma. They already lost to Juve. They lost to Milan. Roma. They lost to Napoli. They lost to every top team. Roma does not count. But Inter have not beaten the top teams. They've lost against Atletico Madrid in the last minute. But Borussia Dortmund, that's an exception. They lost against a very horrible Liverpool team. They lost against Liverpool. They got slapped around by Arsenal. They thought won the big matches. The only team they beat was Borussia Dortmund. That was it. That's the only team they beat. I think I'm missing another match. In Champions. I think it was their player that bottled it, that missed the penalty, I think, in the Milan derby. He missed the penalty. They lost against Juventus. They don't win the big matches. It doesn't matter how they do against the bottom table. How you do against the top teams. They haven't beaten the top teams. They haven't. I think, Atletico Madrid, yep. Liverpool, yep. That's probably one of the top reasons why Juventus have the chance, is that Inter, they don't win matches against the top teams. The league has been weak. It's been terrible. Tudor slowed down Juventus this year. They struggle with Tudor. Napoli are garbage. They don't score. They're only capable of winning 1-0. Napoli are garbage. Milan, they play garbage with Allegri. They sit back against the bottom half. Allegri is stubborn. I like Allegri. I respect him, but when you don't have Chiellini or Bonucci, you can't win that way, Allegri. You don't have Buffon and Maengalan is a good keeper. He won the Ligue 1 with Lille, but if you don't have Buffon or Chiellini or Bonucci, you can't win that way, Massimiliano Allegri. It worked for the team that Juventus had, but this Milan team should be on the front foot. They should be attacking against the bottom half of the table. And it cost them. They dropped the point against Sassuolo. They dropped the point against Pisa. They dropped the point again. They lost against Cremonese. They 0-0 against Juventus. Pulisic skied it over the bar. They cost them. They cost themselves against the bottom half of the table. Milan cost themselves. They 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 don't try to attack teams that clearly have inferior talent. You can play your 3-5-2 against the top half the table. No one's saying you shouldn't. But you should be on the front foot against the teams that are worse than you in the table. And Massimiliano Allegri has cost them this year. He's cost them immensely. Because they drop all these points against the promoted teams, they drop by 6 points. That's why they're behind in the campionato. That's why they're behind. Top four. We're going to do the business. I know he will. We're going to do the business. Top four. We're going to do the business. Yes, we will. We're going to do the business. I know we will. I'm done. Let's win. Let's fight and win tomorrow. Let's fight and win. Let's do it. Let's go. I'll update my Europa and I'll do a very quick video on Coupe de France. Anything else? FA Cup. I don't know about the FA Cup. I don't. Are still going to play starters. If Man City lose the EFL Cup, they're going to need the FA Cup. You play to win trophies. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you don't win the league. You play to win trophies, period. You play to win any trophy you can get. That's why Arsenal and Man City are on all four fronts, because you play to win any trophy. Do they discount the Mickey Mouse Carabao Cup? No, because it's a trophy. You play to win as many trophies as you can. That's why they won 4 straight EFL Cups. They didn't treat it as a Mickey Mouse Cup. You play to win trophies, and you play to win as many trophies as you can. Man City, despite it being fraudulent, the way they inflate the revenue accounts, in Arsenal, they've given each other the squads needed to challenge for all 4 fronts. I can't wait until the League Cup final. Arsenal lose the trophy. Do they borrow? Arsenal win the trophy. They're taking over English football. I think I lean towards coronation on this one. And even if they win the EFL Cup, it doesn't erase the pressure. The Premier League is the giant basket. That is the giant basket. Bookies say Arsenal is the favorite to lift the EFL Cup final. I think because Mikel Arteta has never lost at Wembley as a player and as a manager. Mikel Arteta's never lost at Wembley. Maybe that's why Arsenal are the favorite for the EFL Cup. It'd be hilarious if Erling Haaland loses the EFL Cup, especially after his little humble comments. I mean, yeah, this guy's not Messi. He's not Yamal. He's not Mbappe. He's a big little lump waiting in the box to collect the cross. That's who Haaland is. This is who he is. He, anybody anybody can be Haaland. He has no link up play. He's a big lump waiting for a cross. This is who he is. Just so you know. We will see what happens tomorrow. Let's go. Forza Juve. Forza Juve. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.